Hey, what's up, YouTube? Donovan, the smartphone guy, here to talk about my favorite GPS smartwatch. And I'm speaking specifically to runners here, and I want to talk about two of the criteria that I think are most important, for me at least, as a runner. So, number one, it has to have GPS because I like to run outside. I hate running inside. So, it needs to have GPS so I can accurately track my runs. And number two, it needs to have Bluetooth enabled so that I can use it, obviously as a smartwatch, but also I can put some music on it and run completely wirelessly with some music. So with that being said, I want to talk about these four watches. There are more watches out there. These are all under $200. There are some other watches out there like the Polar M600. There's also the more recent New Balance Run IQ, and there's probably going to be some watches coming out very soon, like the Google Sport Watch, I think is what it's called. But again, those are all in the $350 range to $400 range. So these are in order. We got the Moto 360 Sport, the Samsung Gear Fit 2, the Xiaomi Amazfit Pace, and the TicWatch 2. So all of those fit the criteria that I mentioned below or earlier, and also fit that $200 price range or below. So with that being said, let's jump right into it. So first thing I want to talk about is the battery life of each of these watches. So each of these watches, I can personally get 2 days at least out of all of them. The one that definitely has the best battery life is the Xiaomi Amazfit Pace. I mean, with this one, you can get upwards of 5 days or even more than that because of the fact that it has a trans-reflective display, and that's even with always on display. So that's kind of cool. This one definitely has the best battery life out of all of them. The second one would probably be the Samsung Gear Fit 2. That one, typical use, I would get about 2 to 3 days of usage, and that's with the location turned off except when I'm running. So that's kind of a key there. As long as you have the location turned off except when you're running, you can get 2 or 3 days at least out of that watch. With the TicWatch 2, 2 days is about what I was getting. And with the Moto 360 Sport, typically 1.5. If I stretched it out, I could get 2 days of battery life with that. So definitely Xiaomi gets number one, Gear Fit 2, TicWatch, and then the Moto 360 Sport in terms of battery life. So next, let's talk about performance. And with performance, I'm talking about just kind of like day-to-day working through the watch itself. So the number one watch easily is the TicWatch 2. The performance on that watch is just super snappy. You can go in and out of different apps very quickly. It moves very fluidly. Everything on it works just very well. Notifications work fantastic. Same thing is true with the Gear Fit 2, also a very good watch in terms of performance. Just everything on it works very fluidly. So Gear Fit 2 is also very good for that. Now, the next one would be the Amazfit Pace. Now, this one's a little bit more limited as to what it can do, but with that being said, it runs relatively smoothly, but easily the one that was the most laggy and the one that I had the most issues with would be the Moto 360 Sport. And part of that is because it's running an older version of Android Wear and just laggy. I mean, if you've had it, you kind of know what I'm probably talking about. It's a good watch, but I did have that issue with it. Next thing I want to talk about is the Bluetooth connection. So obviously, if you're running with a watch, you want a watch that has a good Bluetooth connection. So the number one watch in terms of the distance I could get away from my watch with my headphones would be probably, these two are probably about equal. It's pretty rare, regardless of what kind of Bluetooth headphones I'm using, that these two would disconnect from the headphones. So that's awesome. These two, on the other hand, both had issues with Bluetooth connection to my whatever headphones I was using. So for me, that's a huge no-no. I can't stand a watch that's going to constantly disconnect from my headphones, and these two watches definitely have that issue. Definitely, this one was the worst. The Moto 360 Sport, forget about it. If you get too far away from your headphones, it's just going to cut out. And so that was a major issue for me with this watch. I mean, this watch, if it could fix those couple things, would have been fantastic, and I probably would never want another watch, but it had those two issues for sure. But again, Bluetooth connection goes to these two. In terms of activity tracking or extras that you get with the watch, so obviously the Moto 360 Sport is the one that you can do the most with, and that's because it's running Android Wear. It's running an older version of Android Wear, but there's a lot of apps that you can get there. The next one would be the TicWatch 2, a lot of apps that you can get on this one as well. It comes with a lot of preloaded apps on it as well, kind of like the big important ones, but I would say this one, you can sideload apps, Android Wear apps on there as well. It's not perfect, but you can do it, and so that's something worth considering. These two watches basically are close to what you get. With the Samsung, you do have a few more options because there is that gear store available. It's pretty limited. Most of it's just watch faces, but there are some things in there that are useful. The Xiaomi Amazfit Pace, as of right now, doesn't have anything other than what comes preloaded on the watch, which isn't a whole lot. So if you're interested in any of these watches, I've done full reviews of all of them. So check out those full reviews, and I'll leave those links down in the description for each one of them. The next thing I want to talk about is in terms of activity tracking. All of these, of course, have GPS, but not all of them are as accurate as the others. So with that being said, the TicWatch 2 is easily the worst one for GPS tracking and heart rate tracking because neither of those were very accurate on that watch. And the one that I would say gets the win for that would be the Gear Fit 2 because that one was the most accurate in terms of all of those categories. The Amazfit Pace is also very good in terms of GPS tracking. I very, very rarely had any issues with that. And in fact, this one might be the best. These two are pretty close. The reason why I say the Amazfit Pace might be a little bit better in terms of GPS tracking is that it tells you when it has GPS locked in, and then you can start your run. Whereas with the Gear Fit 2, you might start a run and it might not have GPS, but it won't really tell you. So you have to pause it, kind of wait for it to get GPS, and then start again. So that's kind of an issue with that one, but still a very good GPS tracker, very accurate. The Moto 360 Sport, for the most part for me, was pretty accurate. But again, that whole Bluetooth connection for me just kind of killed it. Great watch, but that was kind of a killer for me. The other thing I want to mention here is what they can track as well. So these two also track your sleep. The Amazfit Pace is basically just a runner's watch. It'll track a walk, it'll track a run, but really no activity outside of that. The TicWatch does have some options here, so I'll go into the fitness app for this one just so you can see. And we'll jump into it, maybe. Oops, got into calculator. All right, where's that fitness? There it is. All right, so if we go into the fitness, it's going to force. Okay, so I just reset this watch recently, but there are some options for some other kind of activities, and then there's just kind of like a general activity as well. Easily the one that has the most options for activity tracking would be the Gear Fit 2. So if I go in here to the Gear Fit 2's activity tracking, if I can remember even where to find it. So if we go into exercise, whoops, what did I do there? All right, exercise. Maybe. Okay, I got to hit the button again. So now I'll go back into exercise. And you can see here that under activity type, I've got running, walking, cycling, hiking, elliptical trainer, exercise bike, step machine, treadmill, lunges, crunches, squats, star jumps, Pilates, yoga, rowing machine, and other workouts. So tons of options. And with those, for the most part, it's tracking your heart rate, but it does a great job of doing that as well. And then the Moto 360 Sport, of course, you can track all kinds of things because it's an Android Wear watch. So you can track your sleep with Sleep as Android as an app that you can get. A lot of options there as well. But I definitely give it, in terms of overall activity tracking, the Gear Fit 2 probably takes the win there. So with that being said, which one of these is my personal favorite? And I'm going to kind of give this two things. One, the best overall GPS smartwatch for me is the Gear Fit 2. Now, right now, you can pick this up on Amazon for $125. So it also is, I think, the cheapest of these as well. The Amazfit Pace, if you go to the Amazfit website, you can get it for around $100, and I know you can get it for $160 is the regular price, or $169 I think is the regular price. But I know on their website you can actually get it for right around $120 typically, so that's worth checking out. But in terms of the best smartwatch overall, the TicWatch 2. So if you're looking for just a great smartwatch that also happens to have GPS tracking ability, though not very accurate, it does also have heart rate. Actually, all these have heart rate as well. Again, this one's not particularly accurate with that, but it does have it. So the TicWatch 2 is the best smartwatch. If you're just looking for a great smartwatch, the TicWatch 2 is the way to go. But if you're looking for the best overall fitness tracker, running tracker that has great Bluetooth connection, GPS is very accurate, for me the Gear Fit 2 is just the winner out of all of these. So with that being said, I am going to probably be selling these two. So if you're interested, hit me up. I'll leave my email down in the description if you're interested. But thanks for watching. I hope this has been helpful for somebody. I know it's probably not the most interesting, but I wanted it to be informative and just give you my opinion about these 4 GPS smartwatches. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.